All right, hello everyone. We had technical difficulties first time around. Hopefully, we do not have the same technical difficulties this time. My name is Maria Chung Willoughby, and there's 24 days to my 46th birthday, and I'm so happy and I'm so proud. Today's Saturday, November 20th, 2021, and just live streaming to share with you guys some of the things that I'm doing, and I am doing them independently, of course. Some of the vlog or the live stream will be completely silent as I will be working on personal things. The music you hear in the background is courtesy of YouTube Audio Library. I thought, why not listen to music while I do things and not be copyright infringed? So this is a great way for me to be able to listen to some of the music, hear what I like and what I don't like, and read through it, as well as have some noise in the background while I'm working on things. Sharing. If you guys get a chance, please share your thoughts, experiences, processes, and procedures, as that's what I will be doing here as I'm working through my day to be more positive and productive for myself. The tasks that I have set for today are cleaning, organizing, filing, and planning, which is what I do almost every single day. Just a neat fact here, this is a repurposed shirt. And I have a pen that I placed on it and it says, and each, for the repurposed shirts, I think I have like 5 of them. I'm sewing this little pin on it. And there's different quotes on each pin. This one says, possibility begins with imagination. And I think that's so true in our adult lives. A lot of us are told not to imagine, but that's the thing that keeps us thriving and growing as children. The ability to imagine, to see yourself somewhere other than where you are, to hope, to dream, and believe, and that's what it's all about. And also there's a Q&A session throughout, so if you guys have any questions or anything that you want to share, any assumptions that you guys may have about anything, and I do mean anything, please do. Please absolutely do. Nothing's too personal, nothing's too open. You can ask anything you want. The only thing is that because it is YouTube, if you ask things that are kind of inappropriate in nature, it could affect my channel. So I will have to hide your comments, but I will go back and address them later. I am starting a Patreon called The Naked Truth. I had a channel called The Naked Truth previously, but that whole platform got shut down. I guess they didn't get enough business, maybe because they had people like me on there that wasn't about what they was about. But it is what it is. And The Naked Truth, all that is about bearing your heart, mind, soul, and body. And the thing about it, I think with the society that we live in today, the focus is so much on covering up and putting on a good face to other people. I just recorded some of this a little bit ago, but the audio didn't look like it was taking good, so I do it again. I was like, shoot, while I'm up, I'll go jump in the shower. I gained some extra rolls since the last time you guys saw me. Unfortunately, I need to get that bathroom scale in the way so I can weigh myself and take a look at and know where I am, because this is beyond fluffy. But you gotta love you, because that's all that you have, literally. What I wanted to share with you today, the thought of the day or the word of the day, is temerity. And that word means excessive confidence or boldness. And a sample that they have here is, no one had the temerity to question his conclusions. Now, temerity to me is a liken to the word audacity. Well, the audacity of that person to do this, that, and the other. And temerity, I believe, can be good or bad. And if you have an opportunity, share some experiences or think back and reflect on some experiences in your life where someone had the temerity or audacity, or maybe you had it and it was for the good, and it also can be for the bad. So look at both of those. I will share some of my experiences with you guys as people come here and ask about them. Hey, London Bully, it's good to see you. And good evening from the UK. It is 1:02 p.m. on a Saturday here in the US. So hello, and I'm assuming it's probably pretty cold out there where you are. Again, the word of the day is temerity. So if you have a chance, London, if you could share a sentence about your personal life that shares where maybe there was perhaps excessive confidence or boldness or audacity, either by you or someone else, in a good way or a bad way. As you guys know, it's 24 days to my 46th birthday. So glad to be living alive and amongst us. And if I had to share a story about temerity, it's the temerity that I even still exist. A lot of us have situations where we have friends, family, employers, so forth, that sometimes have verbally told us, hey, why are you still? And sometimes that can affect our self-esteem. You know, for me personally, I didn't see it because I don't catch things like that because I don't think that way. So it goes over my head. It goes over my head. Do the Dougie with it. It goes over my head. I don't catch it. But the time before the last that I went home, and this is when I was still slim and kind of fine, and my hair was all down my butt and stuff, and nice and slim. This was after I had brought home this one guy, and I have stories. It's so funny to talk about myself back then because the way that I would have described him maybe 5 or 6 years ago versus the way that I describe him now is completely different. But I would be embarrassed. I think it's because I'm so old, but but he was kind of delicious. Yeah. But anyhow, so I went home and my sister, she said to me, she says, "Oh, you're not dead yet?" And I couldn't believe that. I'm like, why would you say that to anyone, less your sister? But I've heard through the grapevine from different people that she was a bully, But I never thought she would say anything that's like that to me. And it didn't affect me because I was like, that's crazy. Why would you even think something like that? I would never, And then fast forwarding a little bit forward into the future. So the temerity. So her saying that, oh, you're still alive is like somebody saying, you have the temerity to still exist amongst us. Shouldn't you be long gone? So that's one thing. Temerity can be used in other ways as well. When I went through the legal system, when you go through that process, it's like they make you go to this place, this building. I was offended, but they call it for offenders. But they make you go to this place where they supposedly try to reintegrate you, and you have to look for jobs and things like that. And which was really unnecessary because for me, I have been court ordered to a homeless shelter because they thought that they say that they think that you're going to leave, but I think it's to condition you into that mindset and that way of living that you're behind or below everyone else and kind of condition you to be that way. And I remember, coming back daily to half-heartedly apply for jobs. And I'm just like, nobody's going to hire me, So, and it didn't matter because I really didn't want to get hired, to be honest with you, at that time, because I was like, man, I have so much going on and I don't want to earn or build a reputation for these people to be able to tear it down. So I didn't want to. And I remember this guy, there was 2 men that really had an impact. They were the 2 men that ran that office. Both you could tell they were ex-military or something with the government because they were just so robotic. One of them was, one was good and one was bad. Not in a more morally good or bad way, but one of them was very, just the cookie cutter good. The other guy, on the other hand, and they both looked very similar in appearance, you could tell he's been through some things. Like when you look at me, you can tell she's been through some things. And I remember him saying to me, he reviewed, my resume and all that. And he was like, all of this is really, really good. And then I was like, well, if that's so, then how come I'm not being chosen? And he was like, sometimes, Maria, you have to have the audacity to kick the door down. I didn't want to kick the door down because, again, me giving myself to these companies, to these places, to me, it was the biggest form of I don't know what you call it, like doing something against yourself, It was the biggest form of that. Betrayal, exactly. Self-betrayal, because that's what got me into that situation. And I wrote a book about it. It's called Locked Behind the Bars of Ignorance. I have the cover. It's not completely, I didn't put it on Amazon. I have other books on Amazon, though. But it tells about my whole situation there, and the harm that naivety can do to a person as an adult. Behind the bars of ignorance. I didn't understand that there were bad people in the world, that there were bad businesses in the world. Even though you go to church and they tell you that there's evil in high places, it doesn't stick. It doesn't stick because the life that I led, you go to school, you do what you're supposed to do, you come home, and the worst I had was that I was fat and I was in my room, But my goodness, so much to learn, and so much to unpack. So in regards to that, again, I have 24 days to my 46th birthday. My birthday is December the 15th. I was born at 7:59 a.m. Here in the U.S. Right after I was born, we zipped off a couple of weeks, actually. Got to have some time to heal. Zipped off to South Korea, lived there and grew up there for the first 6 years of my life. That was my first language. Recently, I started revisiting the language. I've taken a couple of language courses, one through St. Petersburg and the other one through Sun Kyung-yang University over in Seoul. Very, very good experiences. But to be honest with you, the Korean that I retaught myself was a lot better. I think I did that just for the degrees, just for the, not the degrees, the certificates. You don't get degrees, there's certificates for what I got. But I've always been into helping people and loving people, finding a form of self-worth. Sometimes, and I'm going to tell you, you never would think it. I would have never thought of myself. There comes a time when you can't give your help and your love and your care away, you know? It has to come from certain people, places, and things. And so with that being in mind, I've always, even when I was starting out in 1989, I think my sophomore year of high school, I went to Hampton High School in Hampton, Virginia. I used to take the bus and go to volunteer at the Newport News Pearl Bailey Branch Library. And I did that. I always had a volunteering spirit and always had a spirit of wanting to help people. And the reason that I did that is having a mom that's from another country, immigrant status. I always found myself having to translate, you know, for her. My parents divorced. They divorced because of the welfare system. My father, same kind of issues. We are our people. We are our generations. We are our histories. You know, his job was the army. You know, lots of bullying, harassment and things like that there. He gains weight. He got taken out of the army. Post-traumatic stress from different things he went through. Alcoholism, you know. Love my dad dearly. Love my mom even more. I hate to say that. Love them both equally in different ways, you know. My mom had a lot more to contribute. You know, she was there the whole time. My dad, after 10, after they finally got divorced at 12, and after society threw him away, it was pretty difficult. And it makes me sad when I go to Google him or look him up. Of course, he died long before the internet was all of that, but there's no big obituary that says he was loved by such and such and such and all his family, but he was loved. I loved him. I loved him. Didn't say he had children and maybe he had other, I don't know, you know. But I don't want that to be the legacy that's left behind, you know. And I want there to be a legacy of love attached to my person, attached to my name. So, yeah, that's when it started, 1989. And prior to that, actually, 89 is when it started. Then the summers I started working in the summer youth employment training programs that they had typically in neighborhoods of children that were considered to be disadvantaged. Took leadership roles in those programs. Went on and went to college. When I went to university, you know, again, that same mindset of thinking that if you do all these things, everything's going to come the way it should. And then you start to realize everything in this world is not what it seems. You know, but I talk a lot about that in my book, Locked Behind the Bars of Ignorance. When I get a chance, and I should have pulled that picture out now that I knew I was coming back on, just so y'all can see the cover of it and perhaps be interested in it. But what I would like to do, and like I said, I've talked to you guys about starting up new things and new endeavors, and these are actually old things and old endeavors. But I want to start interviewing people again. In my early channel, and y'all won't see that here because I deleted a lot of my old videos because I was going to delete them all, you know. I was going to delete everything, but I used to interview people, and the things that you learn when you hit the streets and start talking to people are things that make your heart turn, your mind turn, your spirit turn. Very candid. So what I would like to do for every dollar donated, like I said, I have a small nonprofit that I'm really trying to get up off the ground. And part of it is, you know, just encouraging, inspiring me. There's so many things to do. But for every dollar donated, I will conduct an interview with a quote-unquote muted member of society. Those are persons that have been, you know, involved in domestic violence, bullied, whether it's corporate bullying, peer bullying, or adult bullying, victims of the criminal justice system. With the things that's been in the news lately, there's been a lot about the disparities in how people of color are treated in the system versus people that are not of color, you know. And some of it's very difficult for me to talk about or unpack, you know, so kudos to those people that get on and they can talk about that stuff, because to me it's horrendous. They had a trial recently for a guy that was shot by a non-melanated person, a young man. That guy got off completely, got acquitted. I'm speechless, you know. But we'll unpack some of those things, you know, hit the streets, because maybe I can't say it in my words because it hurts too much. You can probably tell that it hurts me to even think about it. It hurts too much. I live in a town, and it's sad to say, I live in a town where that young man was found rolled up in the mat. And then I saw another young black man posting how that high school that he went to, he's listing a list of the best high schools here in this city. People are not aware, and when they're aware, they brush it under the rug. Even people that it directly affects. For me, I'm not really brushing it under the rug, but I'm traumatized by it, as you can see. My whole demeanor changes. I'm traumatized by it, but I do want to, ignite in others a passion that have the temerity to be able to speak on it, in light of everything that goes on, to hear from them, to provide support, love, and encouragement towards those causes and those things. Talk about homelessness. All of these things are interrelated. Homelessness, people that have been displaced, people that have been through the foster care system, people that have been displaced through various means, it saddens me, and like I said, all of these things are interrelated in one way or another. Next up, mental health. Let's talk about hoarding. Let's talk about hoarders, or perceived hoarding, or perceived hoarders. Also, the other thing I want to talk about too is I don't even know the word for it, like sexual in things, when sexual things go awry, when it's too much, and that needs to be talked about too, because these are all interrelated. These are direct results of situations where folks have fallen between the cracks of society, situations where folks have not received enough love, encouragement, and support. And even when you think of those sexual indiscretions and things like that, it's the same thing, I believe. I believe it's all related. And again, I would like to talk about it, unpack it. We're all humans, so I know people have their experiences that they're able to share as well. Some of the other things that I wanted to share that I came across this morning, and again, the birthday is a celebration of life, you guys, so please help me celebrate. I have 24 days to my 46th birthday. Donate $1 for my causes. Help me get out there and do my thing. $1. So it's just encouragement is all it is. The PayPal is listed here. It's The Art of Good by mariechuwill@gmail.com. I do have an actual website. I do have an actual email that goes with the company. But again, through the process of me throwing everything together, this is from way back. So it's attached to that PayPal account, and that's what it is. But it's all for the same purpose, same cause. The other thing that I wanted to discuss with you guys, this Bible verse, Matthew, and I'm going to get this music to go away, and hopefully, I'm not sure if I'm able to be heard or not. Am I? I hope I'm being heard. I feel like I need to take it through another test run again. Oh my gosh. Okay, so just moving right along, the Bible verse that I was talking about, Matthew 10:13-15. Let me double check here. It doesn't look like my sound. Okay, good. Yeah, so good. I'm glad you can. I didn't know if the sound was working or not, because even if there's nobody here, even if you're not ready for the day, it can't always be night. Even if there's nobody here, if someone happens to go by and see it, these are my hopes and my dreams. These are my endeavors, and I want them to be out there. I want someone to know, to understand, to hear, to feel. But thank you, London Bully. I really appreciate you. So Matthew, the Bible verse is Matthew 10:13-15, King James Version. I prefer the old King James Version, which no longer is in circulation, has been pulled, no longer exists. But here's what it says. And it says, "And if the house be worthy, let your peace be come upon it. If it not be worthy, let your peace return to you." And this is so important, because those populations of people that I mentioned before, that you see on the right side, those that have experienced domestic violence, bullying, whether it be corporate, peer, or adult bullying, those that are victims of the criminal justice system, those that are homeless or have mental health issues, again, is because they've put themselves in front of people, places, and situations that weren't worthy of them. They weren't worthy of them. And they knew that those people did not appreciate their presence, did not love their presence, did not get the most out of it, but they stayed. They stayed because they wanted to make the situation right. And you can't always do that because sometimes that's not your place to make that situation right. That burden, you can't do everything and be everything, you know? So sometimes the beginning, and this is all about healing. Again, the topic of this channel for this year, for 2021, was self-love, self-loveology. Y'all didn't see a lot of me this year because I was so into trying to get those businesses off the ground, but didn't make it. Didn't make it. So, then I had to backpedal and had so many different things, but it's okay. You are going to fall quite a few times. I'm going to fall quite a few times. And that's why if you guys are young, it's good to start young. I did, but then I got sidetracked and got into the legal thing that took me out of the pocket for 10, 15 years. Even after it's all over, you still suffer from the aftermath. And I'm about to address that through this Bible verse now. Because again, it's all about healing, and sometimes the beginning of healing is to discover where you left your peace, to find out where the trauma began. It's trauma that causes these situations, and how we manage those. Are we able to convert that trauma into passion and desire truthfully and make things happen? Or do we let that trauma overtake us and paralyze us and not allow us to move ahead? So again, the beginning of healing is to discover where you left your peace. And back to this verse, and if the house be worthy, let your peace come upon it. But if it not be worthy, let your peace return to you. So your house, meaning the relationship that you're in, your peer, your partner, your employer, your family, your church. If that relationship is worthy, let your peace, the peace that is inside of you, come upon it. Let you build that spirit of peacefulness in that relationship. But if it's not worthy, let your peace return back to you. If that relationship is not worthy of your presence, of your existence, take your peace and keep it moving, And that's something I don't have a problem with. But in saying that, I do realize what the issue is. So I don't have a problem with leaving any person, place, thing, or entity that does not serve me. However, this is the flip side of the coin, and where other people may have issue as well. No, I don't have a problem leaving. What, you don't want to treat me good? Okay, it's not a problem. I'm out of here. And I can say that to anybody across the board. I wouldn't have been able to say it to my family, but my family got rid of me for me. So there you go. but the issue there is that yes, I can leave it. I don't have any problem because for me, my motto is if you don't like the view, you look out the other window. If I don't like what I'm seeing here, I can look over here and enjoy myself. And the thing about it, though, like I said, I don't have a problem leaving. But the thing is that I feel like I have to take the broken pieces and the dirty pieces with me. I will leave you, but I will take those broken pieces and dirty pieces with me, and I guess in a way hoard them. I bring them all home and try to see, while I'm trying to look for my next endeavor and my next goal, try to see if I can fix all those pieces back together so I can bring it to you and be like, here, I'm sorry this got broken, when we were together, whether it's together with your employer, your partner, your family member. I'm sorry it got broken, but look, I fixed it. And look how beautiful it is. And I don't want anything. You can have it. But the thing is that when you keep picking up all these dusty pieces and broken things and bringing them home, you have a whole life that you're supposed to be living. Now you got a house full of broken pieces and dusty things that you haven't had time to repair. That's just a constant reminder of those broken situations that you weren't meant to be in. And if you were, only for that small period of time, but now you've taken it home with you and placed it into an environment that it doesn't need to be. And I'm not talking just physical things, but I'm talking mental things, thoughts, all of that. So again, a lot of times we are bold enough to leave the house, but we want to fix what was dirtied or broken and take it back home with us. And we can't do that. We can't. Got to keep our home clean. We're working on it. As you can see, we got a lot of clutter going on, but we're working on it. We're working on it. And this is step one. Someone told me in my younger years that they like me because I work from the inside out. It's true. I don't go to try to impress everybody else first. It's about me first. I work from the inside out. What it is what it is. And some of it's pretty embarrassing, but that's what it is. It's exactly what it is. You're gonna get what you see. And with me being as open as transparent as I am, is because I want to reach out to other people that may have been in the same situation, you know. And it's not because I think that I can particularly help them any more than they can help me, but it's so that we can grow together. We can learn and understand and grow from those situations and see the differences. That's all. So, and I jotted down some notes when I was thinking about this earlier, and I was saying how oftentimes we'll think about it, but it's never fixed again. Those broken pieces that we bring home, and we end up, like I just said, with our personal spaces being filled with broken promises and broken dreams. We can't fix everything. We can't do it. It's not meant for us to fix everything. Let somebody else take care of those broken pieces. You gave, while you were in that presence, you gave as much love, encouragement, positivity, productivity, efficiency, all that you could. You can't take it all with you. Leave it there. Leave it where it be. Wipe the dust off your feet. Make sure you get all the dusties gone before you leave, and keep going. Keep going. And so in regards to, and the next verse says, in verse 14 says, and whosoever shall not receive you, nor hear your words, when ye depart out of that house or city, shake the dust off of your feet. And that's what I was just talking about. So those entities, like I said, family, friends, church, employer, whatever, those entities may not receive you, but don't leave your peace there. Don't leave your peace of mind there, your peace of heart there, your spirit. All of those goods, like they say, casting your pearls before swine, those are all beautiful things. Do not leave those there. If folks do not receive you, do not leave your peace there. You take your peace with you, but you make sure you let them keep their dusties with them. Again, also don't take the dirtied and sullied pieces with you that they have. Don't take it. That is not your calling. It's not your responsibility. Your calling, especially as women, the saying about women is that whatever we give us, true women, whatever you give us, we take it and we multiply it tenfold and make it better. And that's the truth should be. And I think all of us have feminine and masculine qualities. Wherever we go, we should always be taking that environment and transforming it into something better. That's why you should never be a hoarder or never have the appearance of hoarderism, or nothing should ever be dirty, because once you get up and leave, if I was at this table, when Maria leaves this table, if it had crumbs on the table, it needs to be cleaner than it was when I left, regardless of who did it, which would be just me because I'm the only one that lives here, but So, again, take your peace with you. Don't leave your peace in those past circumstances. And don't sully your present prosperity with the disenchantment of the past. So don't block your blessing that you're supposed to have now or in the future because you're busy trying to put together pieces of the past that don't even belong to you anymore. It doesn't belong to you. Let it go. Don't rob people of their sulliness and dirtiness and broken pieces. It does not belong to you. If you have to think of it that way, think of it as silly. If you take those thoughts, those negative energies that were there before you got there, and you take it with you, it doesn't belong to you. It doesn't belong to you. Never take anything that doesn't belong to you. Give it back to them. It's all theirs. So in that respect, staying in a place that does not receive you is a waste of time. It blocks your blessings, like I was saying. So next verse 15. Verily I say unto you, it shall be more tolerable for the land of Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that city. So wasting your time is a form of disrespect. And again, it delays you from getting the prosperity that you dutifully own. If they don't receive you where you are, they're not part of your assignment. As creatures of God, we are given an assignment, a purpose in this life. And God will open the doors, or whatever you want to call it. God will open the doors that will make that path for you, because you're here for that intended purpose that you were created for. So if doors close for you, or you're not well received, it means that you're not supposed to be there. Let's think about, you're not supposed to be there. Your spirit tells you. Your spirit tells you so. When you feel uncomfortable or dis-ease, it's because you're not supposed to be there. And be thankful to the people that let you know. Thankful to my mom for letting me know, hey, why'd you even come here? You know, didn't allow me to live in that fantasy that, hey, this is my family and I'm going to be able to tell them everything. And, I'm going to be back to the person I was before. No, because and the understanding part is this, that with me, if I'm me going back to the person I was before, you're just like their presence is impacting you and maybe changing you for the better because they could clearly see all that you've been through. Like the guy that I was telling you is part of that program. You also impact them, you know? And when you're looking at immigrant families or partially immigrant families, they don't have a lot of wiggle room for any of that. None. A lot of times they're based, well, at least mine was, other people were smart and got the grants for foreign people and all this. My mom didn't know about all of that, you know? So it's basically the system that you're living off of. So, anyhow, and this is something that I've heard a couple of different places. I'm going to repeat it here and paraphrase it a little bit, but um, again, like I was saying about the assignment, if it's not meant to be, it's because it's not meant to be. It's not part of your end assignment, your end task in the very end. Um, and this is something that I've heard a couple of different places, but it's alluding to you could be everything that that person, place, or entity needs, right? You can be everything that they need, just like a package. You can be the whole entire package deal, baby. You can be everything, right? But if you end up at the wrong address, the receiver will mishandle you. Okay? So this big great gift of whoever you are, this great big gift that's Maria Chung Willoughby, so full of everything wonderful, so full of spirit, vim, love, courage, all of that, suppleness, beautifulness, all of that. But if you put me in the wrong hands, and I've been delivered into the wrong hands a few times, not intentionally, it happens, the world is not perfect. Whoever receives you, if God did not intend for that person to receive you, whether again it's family, friends, employers, they are going to mishandle you and damage you. So we have to be careful that we are going to the right address. We're getting into the right hands. We have to be very careful that everything that we do is consciously and conscientiously done with care, with the end goal, intentionally, of getting into the right hands, into the right places, in alignment with our goals. We have to be intentional about it because it's so easy. There's so many variables in this world. It's so easy, whether you mean to or not, to get pulled off track, to get plucked right out of where you were, without you even knowing. But the saving grace in all of that is to enjoy life, as much as you can. So continuing on with that piece. So again, when you leave places, do not take those broken pieces with you. You were not intended to be there. Those broken pieces, because nothing was broken when you came. You didn't bring anything broke. You didn't break anything when you left. You leave all that there. All of the energy, all of the thoughts, whatever, you leave it right there. Especially in my older age, I'm not saying don't address things. But what I am saying is, don't carry all that luggage with you. In my older age, like I said, it's just, you realize that time is so short. It's so precious. But you also realize that you're human. You are going to sometimes carry that emotional baggage. You are sometimes going to carry that. So once again, it takes a village to raise a good person. But if a village does not accept you or does not receive you, you dust your feet off from that village and you move on to the next. And make sure that you don't take any of that dust or all of those things with you when you go. Because if you take those things, if you look at hoarders, You see all this stuff going on back here. I'm not claiming it, but hey, if you look at people that have a lot of stuff, a lot of baggage, physically, mentally, and otherwise, it's because they've been collecting things in hopes of trying to fix them that they haven't had the opportunity to appropriately vet and put out there. And we have to stop that. It doesn't belong to us. Self-esteem, the esteem that you have in yourself. If you see yourself as a broken person, you're going to take a broken thing. You can't esteem. You are a whole person. You are a beautifully well put together person. Everything that comes to you is something that comes from you is molded and crafted beautifully. If you were not well received, it wasn't your job. Put it away. It's not for you. Let someone else deal with that. But hold yourself in the esteem that you're worth. You're worthy. You're worthy. You're worth more than you know. And I say this, and this is how my mind works. Then I start thinking about the birth certificates and how they have actual dollar amounts attached to it. And we'll explore that at another time. I don't know if I believe it or not. And if I do, am I going to do anything about it? Probably not. I mean, probably not. I mean, and I don't even know if it's good knowledge to have, because if you know it, what are you going to do with that knowledge except it's going to make you feel fearful. And, so if you're not going to do anything with it, don't take what you don't need. Life is so full of so many things that we can accomplish or focus on. Let's focus on those things that bring us joy. Let's focus on those things that will benefit us in a way that will, ultimately put us in a situation where we can look back on our life and smile on at least some of the things. Um, oh, and also in regards to that transition of leaving the village or the place that did not receive you well, that you were not meant to be. Um, in the Bible, there always says that God will not give you more than what you can handle. And as you guys know, I don't subscribe to, I just subscribe to doing good. And if I can get good from something, then that's good. But God will not give you more than you can handle. So God will always provide you like a reset space in between villages. Like when you're walking from one village to the next, they say walking clears the mind. It clears your mind and gets you prepared for the next village. It allows you to um, kind of compensate yourself. It allows you to push the reset button. It allows you to reset all those things that you went through and bring yourself back to level. So when you get to the next opportunity, you have all your gifts and talents that you're willing to give again, whether it be family, friends, employers, businesses, so forth and so on. So everything that you need, you have. So again, before you make it to the next destination, God will grant you some space between so you can deal with what happened, so you can process it. So you get some moments of introspection, some moments of mourning. And I'm going to tell you, as a person that's to myself, I have lots of introspection and lots of opportunities to mourn, but we have to be very careful that we keep everything in moderation, because too much of anything, too much introspection, not a good thing. Too much extroversion where you're looking to everybody for their opinions and everything, not a good thing. We have to keep it in balance. Have to keep it in balance. So again, you want to make sure that you're using that time efficiently, not closing yourself in completely, but getting out a little bit, just so that you can reset that button, so that you can be prepared for your next destination. Okay, and so all this is about is healing. Again, healing from past trauma. And when I talk about trauma, I talked about what I call the muted members of community and society, which I'm a part of. Those that have been through domestic violence, been bullied, whether again it's been corporate bullying, peer bullying, adult bullying, victims of the criminal justice system. And I said that's in our news as recently as over this past week. That's in our news every day. Things we hear about. The woman that was 70. I know y'all heard about this. A woman that was 75 years old. This is in the United States. 75 years old that they found hung from a tree, and they said that she committed suicide. And then the day after that, a young girl hung. It's crazy. And I'm going to tell you, I live in Valdosta, Georgia, right? And I love Valdosta so far because I just wanted to be in a nice little country place, okay? Um, I wanted to be in a nice little country spot. But I didn't realize I was looking up Valdosta and TikTok, and I said this before. And there's a real cool song that somebody made with Valdosta with multiracial people in it. But I saw things when I looked up Valdosta and people accounts that made me think, I should be afraid sometimes. you know. Um, but I say to each his own. You know, I think we should be as good to each other as we can. Good to different people means different things, but for me and my value system, I know what good means, and that's what I'm going by. So yeah, so catering to all of that. And one other thing I mentioned, y'all are gonna be with me, and London Bully says he's gonna. Oh, thank you for that. Very good advice to live by, and not advice, but just situations that I'm feeling and I'm learning from, and that definitely, it's easy to say, but let's work. I'm working on that path. Creating that pathway for me. London says he'll be here until I end the stream, so don't worry. So London, I have some sad news for you. I probably will not be ending the stream. So I appreciate your help when you can and when you are here. Just let me know that people can hear that that this is actually an audio that you can hear. But what I plan to do, because this is actually a crutch for me as well. After I finish talking about what I feel like talking about, y'all are gonna be on in the background. I'm probably gonna have YouTube music on, not copyrighted, so that I can have something in the background. And I have lots of things that I need to work on, so I'm going to be working on those. If people happen to stop in and have questions, whether it's yeah, London, yeah, whether it's above board or below board, I want to address them all because, like I said, I really do want to get those businesses underway. And the same questions that people may have here, they may have when I actually start publicizing my business and going out there and representing my business. Maybe that's why God made it so my car gotten that what happened to my car happened, because I'd be out there all over the place with my Maria mobile. Um, um, but yeah, but people are going to have questions and people are going to say things sometimes based on misperceptions or what they want the perception to be. And so I have to be able to address those. And so this is part of my training ground for that to be here. And for me to just be me. So y'all know me. I was on here in my Terry robes just a minute ago, but then I couldn't hear the audio, so I was like, shoot, I need to go take a shower. I haven't jumped in the shower yet, so I did that. And the robe actually was a big come up for me. But all these feelings and emotions and things and desires and passions and viewpoints, we're all human. We have them. Sometimes they're in alignment with each other, and sometimes they're not. And I want to hear about it. I want to hear about it. So I don't care who you are. And I've heard, and what's so funny, I thought I would be the only one to have the temerity. That's the word of the day again today, the temerity to say this. But, if I don't care if it's a former employer. And I've had people that worked with me before come on here to harass me, like immediately, like, when I was in a job situation, come on here and harass me. But this is different, because that's not where I plan to stay. So if you are a former coworker, whether it's coming from a place of love, wanting to understand, former employer, I don't care, even with the one that had the legal situation. And I know all you guys' names, and I'll probably say them one day, but I was scared to say their names because I didn't want to get in trouble. But I don't care if you were part of the jury. I don't care who you are. Come to me. Feel free to ask me questions. Feel free to share your perception, your opinions, your thoughts. Share them. We're all grown here. And the thing about it is that, like I said, I don't have many years left. When I'm at a low, it's hard for me sometimes because I'm trying to overcome it. So if you see me sitting around in my robe, or God forbid, I can't. There's nowhere that I can be completely me anymore because they took the other medium away. you know but it's not about what you think it's about. It's not about that. It's about, I'm at this point where I couldn't even get dressed, you feel me? But taking the good out of it, you see me for who I am, and it's nothing covered, nothing hidden. um I am starting a Patreon account. I don't know how I really want to do it because I think all these things need to be things to talk about. The channel that I used to have where I could just be me completely, just open, was The Naked Truth, but that's gone because that platform is taken down. It had to be put on another, I call it a diversion platform, because there was no other way that I could just be in my natural state and say what I had to say. So on days that I feel like I couldn't get dressed, I couldn't get in front of the camera and say what I had to say because there's no place that would let me let me do that, you know. So I'm working on creating that for myself, and I think that the Patreon will allow me to do that. I just can't, like, my main photo can't be, because you know sometimes we have to we I think that's so important, and I don't like the way the society demonizes or puts a negative connotation, and you just being naturally you, you know, even if it's not aesthetically appealing. Like my hair right now kind of looks curly just because I got out of the shower and this conditioner still in it. You feel me? But after it starts growing some more, it's gonna be a huge afro, you know. And it's just, and it'll only be curly when it's wet, you know. And some people may not agree with hair being this short, but I needed to cut it all off for practicalness because my hair was damaged. That picture you see in the corner, that's my damaged hair that looks like straw. Not all of it was damaged, but still, you know, every time I touched my hair, it was coming out. And then when I come out the shower, it was just so, because the curl part got messed up because of the colors of the hair, coloring in the hair. But lastly, what I wanted to say is that's what I wanted to say is this. I've always thought about this, and you like my little cartoon that I made of the Statue of Liberty? Because I've always felt myself kind of in that capacity when I was little, and when we first came to the United States. I always thought about that. You know how they said, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to be breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless tempest tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door." And that's what I thought America was, but it's not really. It's capitalists. They're using us. We're all slaves. But it's okay, you know, but you're only as much as the slave, like the slaves used to think and say, that you allow yourself to be. They would escape through their songs, camaraderie, and that type of thing. But that's kind of what I want to be, because, and the things that we want to be to other people are a lot of times the things that we want other people to be to us. And I think the epithet, or the whatever, this epitaph, whatever it's called, is that called an epitaph? It's been so long I don't even know the right word. Let's find out. We have the internet, right? Let's look it up and make sure that we're speaking appropriately. Epitaph, a phrase or form of words written in memory of a person who has died, especially an inscription on a tombstone. So, not really, but kind of. But that must have been what we called it back then. But epitaph, Epitaph. So those words are so poignant. You know, give me your tired. I've been tired. Give me your poor. Definitely been, and probably am still. And I don't want to say it because I want to talk it into existence and permanence. Give me your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. Can you think about that? Slavery and the slave ship being in the bottom and everybody so close together you could barely breathe. That Astroworld thing, they were talking about how they were huddled together so much people couldn't breathe. You couldn't inhale or exhale. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore. So the people that nobody else wanted, people that got thrown away. I can tell you how many times I got thrown away. Thrown away by my own family. Thrown into the garbage. There you go. Send these, the homeless, the tempest tossed, the people that have gone through so much. I lift my lamp beside the golden door so you can come and rest here. You know, that's what I want to be. You know, and I see a lot of people already out there being that. You know, half my age, a third my age. You know, that's what I want to be. You know, the things that I needed, the gap that has been placed in society that I didn't necessarily get, come up and so on. I want to be that to someone else. You know, I want to make that up. And you know, I'm talking about sexuality, and it scares me because I'm looking at my hair. This is purely because my hair was damaged. But I used to think about how gay people, like especially gay women, I used to ask them, you know, when they approached me, I said, you know, were you abused as a child? You know, or were, because I'm finding that with gay men that I talked to, and most of them answered, yeah, they were. They were taken advantage of as children. You know, but now it's becoming the norm. So now the newer generations may not have experienced the same. But for the young men, and I have a story about that too that's gonna break my heart, and I'll post that when I get a chance. But for the young men that were gay, they were abused as children. And when you look at it, it's so much systemic hatred. What happened, it's all part of the system. They were abused as children. They had fathers or whatever that were locked up, and then they came out and they abused the kids. And then for the girls, the same thing. They were abused. And so just like I'm saying how this Statue of Liberty epitaph, that's what I want to be to people. Not because I think I'm great and all this. And that's what they said in court too. Do you have like some type of superiority? No, you don't. No, you don't. These are things that I want to be. I want to be these things because these are things I wanted somebody to be for me. And so when you look at gay women or women that have, I think they've been in some bad relationships, really bad experiences with men. And so they want to stand in the gap and be that and heal the world to say, be that to somebody, you know, because they didn't never get an opportunity to have those things. Because I watch, but now the world is becoming more ratchet. Women are pretending to be men and treating women, a certain type of way, And like I said, please don't make any judgments on me. My hair is cut because it was damaged. If you see the picture, the picture's gone. There was a picture in the bottom corner, but it's gone now. My hair was really damaged. That's why. London says, yeah, same for me. That's how I came across your content and been subscribed ever since. You're very open. I can appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I think we need that. We need to stop hiding so much. When we hide, and that was going back to that Bible verse that I was reading. When we hide things, we can't heal. When you hide things, you build walls. And you can't heal. You can't heal when you build walls. And, I say this, but sometimes we have walls and we don't know it. Like for me, I'm always in the house, always, and I'm happy. And the work from home thing, I was working from home before COVID. You know what I'm saying? And that's the first time I said that word without calling it something else, because to me it was such, whatever, but it's here, the word, the phrase, and the environment, whether it was real or fake or conjured up, it's here to stay. And my thoughts on that is that, yeah, you should be protected in things going out, because even if it wasn't real, the government can make it real out of spite. Just because you didn't do something they said, they can nicely give it to you. It's no problem. But I don't want to talk about that. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. But yeah, definitely. So that's who I want to be. And again, I want to reach out to people that have been through experiences like me, because we don't have a voice. When do we get a chance to talk about that? Nobody wants to hear about that. It's nice if we could sit back and watch a TikTok video or a video of somebody going through that and be like, oh my gosh, what a shame. But when it comes to people that are hands-on, that are going to be close to close, face to face, and I just thought of a bad song that has nothing to do. No, because I said face to face, it's on meet to meet, but no, it's different. Face to face about, these issues, and I remember this guy telling me when I first moved from Atlanta, that's when I had the business there, but I didn't get off the ground. I just made it because I had gotten through a bad breakup and I needed something to focus on. That's all it was. And so I moved down to Miami for a quote unquote vacation. And I remember, when I shared this with this guy, and I wish I had money, because there's people that I owe. And when I say I owe, I sincerely owe. I owe that guy. I remember he was telling me, the reason why people are that way, it's not because you're a bad person or whatever, is they don't want to think about you. They don't want you to be in a bad situation and they have to think about you. Because these things that people feel so touched by, that they see on TV and see on social media, if it comes to them hand to hand where it's something personal, where you're not getting any clout for that, and the kind of person I am, I don't want my stuff advertised everywhere. When I was homeless, I said that I was, and I wanted to record it, but I wasn't allowed to, because being in the shelters, they wouldn't allow you to do that. And things that you see are wrong. Those are not nice places, you guys. You're donating all your money and things there. And that's why I say, even with me doing this nonprofit thing, even with me doing this, I still encourage if your heart feels to always give. But I encourage you, if you really want to make a difference, if you just in the habit of giving just to give, this is a good cause. But if you really want to give, you find an individual individually, and you go and give to them. You say, hey, because homelessness, it's not an economic disease. It's a social economic disease. There's a social portion of that. Social portion in all of these things that I have listed here. People have fallen between the cracks of society, fallen, and they can't get up. We got to love on each other. We got to see each other, be willing to see each other, not just on a screen from afar, but up close and personal. we have to be willing to be respectful enough to each other to keep each other in each other's presence and hold each other and love each other on that. But anyways, I love that. So I'm gonna get ready to start working on some things. Personally, for me, if anybody has any questions, comments, concerns, assumptions, any trolling to do, feel free. I'm here for it. But again, just reiterating what it says here: give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore, send these, the homeless, tempest tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. Absolutely love it, you guys. So beautiful. I guess I'm just going to go back. Am I going to go back? Yeah, it's the word of the day. So if anybody uh, has any that they want to share, experiences with temerity and stories to share, they simply can. I'm going to be probably focused here for a minute. It's going to be quiet. Well, no, it's not. So y'all going to hear the YouTube music in the background. But working on, my files and my finances, my financials, and all of that. And probably y'all see me in here eating. And then when I eat so much, I get too fat that I don't feel comfortable in clothes. I'll probably put my nightgown back on. So sorry, y'all got to see all that, but it is what it is. But I love you. So bye for now. And London, if you want to be released, you can. Because I don't have anything else to say for right exactly this moment. But I love you guys. Peace. Enjoy the sounds of YouTube Audio Library.